Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ISM Radio. I'm your host, Gaige, and I have the pleasure of sitting here in the world-renowned Oheka Castle with world-famous pastry chef Daniel Andreotti. This is such a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the radio today with us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be sitting here.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you are such an accomplished chef, pastry chef at this point in your career. Like you said, the magazines are coming for you. The photographers are coming for you.
I'm not exactly sure why, but if you tell me, I'll believe it.
But
thank you.
Thank
you for that great introduction. I mean, it's beyond anything that I could have ever expected to achieve. And sometimes I think I'm only as good as my next cannoli, because the expectation is so high.
Right.
Really.
Right.
I mean, people come in and they're like, "Oh, he's designing our wedding cake. It better be spectacular." So I think I only made it harder for myself.
Can you screw up a cannoli?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, good. Because I've never made one, so I don't know.
No, you can screw anything up. Baking it's different than cooking. It's not a pound of this, a pounding of that. There's a process, there's a method, there's a time lapse to keep things fresh and moving.
Scientology to the
Right.
ingredients,
And
right?
there's the part that gets me the most is the beauty of the art. It's not just weights and balance, and you can't alter anything. You got to do the procedure as is. And that's where people mess up in their private homes. They want to get through something quickly. And the best things in pastries take a long time to make and achieve.
Sure.
Right. But the final finishing touches are what makes it the most palatable, because we eat with our eyes. So you can make the best tasting thing, but a lot of chefs can take it to the highest level of presentation. And that's where I'm gifted, because I'm basically an artist before I was ever a pastry chef.
Right. Okay. And now you're here at the castle for 3 decades. I mean, that's a serious amount of time. And like you said, the staff here is like your extended family.
They are, and it's almost too long. But here I am. My back hurts, my feet hurt now. It's like my hair's totally gray. I came here, I was like 30-something years old. And now I'm 64. But it's been a beautiful ride. This venue, it gave me the availability of the idea of being artistic, and it gave me the customer and the client with the money that enables me to do my best with everything, to buy the best ingredients, to put out the best show I could, for not only for the place, but to please the customer as well.
Right. Now, that's why you were selected 30 years ago to be here by the owner of the castle.
Well, 30 years ago, I wasn't to this level that I am today.
No, right.
It's been a great learning process, and God, I learned a lot. I learned everything on the job. You can't learn anything. You can learn basics in a school or in a program, but it's really the experience of the on-the-job training, right. and I'm the product of that. So 30 years ago, I had a space and a place where I could just evolve my work, and that's what I did. But I wasn't as good as I am now.
No, well, obviously you
I had
evolved
more
into
energy.
this.
Now I less want to do it than ever before. But back then I was way more eager. And it gave me the gas and the energy to want to go forward, and it kept me going.
Right. Well, like you had mentioned earlier, Gary wanted bigger and better, and that's what he wanted from you.
The owner of the castle is into clearly big things.
Right.
He's a small little guy, but this is the biggest home, one of the biggest private homes in America.
Right. Yes.
And it was the Gatsby house, or it inspired the one of the greatest novels of all time, The Great Gatsby. So Oheka Castle is about entertainment. It was built for parties. We have that. Also, it was built to impress. It was built to impress
Right.
Otto Kahn's guest, because he had to do it, because he was being there was so much anti-Semitism at the time, and this gave him his canvas to show that he could be part of that upper society of the 1900s and 1920, the land barons and whatever. No one did it better than he did. He was a poor boy, he did it, and he took it really, really far. And that's why this property still today needs to impress. So hiring me was a belief that maybe I was the right candidate that could do it that way, because the way we do parties here is I replicate everything I do in pastry. When I was a young kid, we would go on a cruise, and cruise lines, they pulled all the stops because they wanted to make sure you would go back on another cruise and another and another.
Right.
And they would feed people. And it wasn't about calories and health or any of that stuff. It was about opulence and eating with your eyes. So they had gourmagets and whatever. And that's what influenced me so much and made me want to be in this industry. So here comes Gary, and here I am 30 years later, and I have the perfect venue to show off my stuff.
Right. And when he brought you in here, you said that the help that you had from the kitchen, these guys did every other job here and you taught them. So you basically.
They went from the sink
Right.
and from mopping floors to being some of the greatest pastry chefs anywhere.
Thanks to you.
Well,
You gave them the chance to do that.
They discovered that they may have had a passion, and I do like to teach. And I do believe that a lot of times less knowledge is better knowledge at the end, because if you find somebody who's willing to do all the jobs, you learn all the work. And there's no, well, they didn't teach me that at the culinary. And it's like, look, they already knew how to do the dishes. So that was half that, because you dirty everything in the kitchen.
Right.
So cleaning up is a big part of it. Sometimes if you hire people that are professionals, they don't clean.
Right.
They don't do the overtime. They don't. Look, we've got to be clear here. I'm the only prima donna allowed in my kitchen.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
and you are.
These days I'm a diva and I'm going to play the card. Why not?
100%.
So I get to dirty, they get to clean, but they do it with a smile. And I love them all so much. They've been here with me for so long. They're like my children.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is. That's a great story behind
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
Now, your parents, they didn't want you to, they wanted you to be something bigger and better, like mine did. We talked about this.
Yeah, you're not kidding about that. Boy, did I take a left turn with all of that.
We all do.
Oh, well, the ones that know themselves the best can, they can own it. They can go on their own, and they can defy their parents.
Yes.
And they have a greater existence.
It's an inability. They have it inside.
They have it inside of you because you're more prone to do it than you're more prone to make the mistake.
Right.
And that's what I did. And I knew I was young, and I said, if I don't try this now, I could always go back to school. So I jumped out of my education. I was on the road to be an academic, to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or whatever. But really, my great passion was art. I was the kid that loved the art part of school, of elementary school, junior high school.
Yep.
I had the art scholarships and whatever. And my dad would break my pencils and my brushes and be like, this is no career. This is a hobby.
Oh my God.
So when I was done with college and before I went on to grad school, I blindly bought a bakery that was abandoned and with showcases in it and the whole bit in a little town called Brightwaters. And there was nothing alive there. It was kind of even a dead little town. It's over in Bay Shore.
Yep.
But I saw a possibility in a dream. And I knocked on the door of the hardware store next door, and I happened to be the landlord. And he said, if you tell me you're going to take it, I'll make you a deal. And I took it.
That was a leap of faith you had there.
It was a leap of stupidity that fortunately worked out.
You see.
But I paid the piper. I really, really did.
Right.
I don't know that I would ever recommend doing it that way or not. This is a case where you put the cart before the horse.
100%.
I didn't know what I was going to do from that.
See, now, guys, I met my match here personality-wise. I'll tell you that right now.
I love it.
Daniel is way too much fun, and we're having a ton of fun here in the library. If you only knew what was going on behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
But we're in for a fun night here. And, we've been doing this event here once a month. We come here for an executive networking event.
Right.
And you just recently worked with Dean and Chris and James and everybody
I have,
in the city, which you had a
have.
great experience. That was...
Oh, it was the best experience. I mean, they first of all, they're the most fabulous crew I've ever worked with. I have filmed a lot. I have been in magazines a lot. I've done a lot of TV. I have never seen such a group of family and people that work together so uniquely and so nicely. And all of you showed up exactly on time. You told me what was going to happen, and it happened that way. Not only are you all so reliable, but you all have the most amazing equipment. And I'm telling you, I've been filmed by real professionals. So I hope that our relationship just keeps blooming and possibly we can work together someday in the future. this is the greatest crew I've ever worked
Well,
with.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
saying that. We really do. We're very grateful to hear that. And when we did sit down on the set today, you were expecting George Clooney to come in.
Well, you have to settle for me. Like my hair is not as good, but I can wrap it up and talk. I think as well as George Clooney.
Yeah,
do.
I think you're better than.
I can maybe even act.
Yeah,
If
I
anybody
think
wants
you're
to
way
hire
better
me for
than.
it, I can even try it. You're too sweet. Thank you.
Way better than
That's
George
really-
Clooney.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
here when you get 400 people are coming to an event here, and they're excited to come here, and they know the entertainment's going to be top notch, the food's going to be amazing, and I always told people you got to save room for the pastries because when that comes out at the the end of the food that comes out, the last of the food is the pastry to come out, and it is
And it's the best.
it is on it is it
it's
is the best.
No, no. I mean, it's the best part of the evening.
100%
Because it's like that's when the bride and groom and when the host and hostess are the most relaxed, and they actually get to grab something and eat for the first time in maybe possibly the whole night.
It kills
And
my
it's-
dance floor is the entertainment out there. Whenever the pastries came out here,
Keep that coming. I want to hear that. Keeps me employed, my friend.
that's
You know,
it.
like it really it's what has to be. We put together a spectacular room that's the size of this library,
Right.
And every kind of dessert possible is out there. I mean, within reason, but they tend to be Italian American. We even put s'mores out there lately, or whatever people ask for. We personalize it somewhat, but my objective is abundance and eye appeal. So everything goes out in different levels and different textures and different colors. That's all important to me, that whole palette. And you know what? It's kept me employed, but we do get a lot of good feedback. And you've experienced it yourself.
Yes.
And you know, and we're probably one of the only places left in this country that do it the old-fashioned way.
Right.
This is the way they did it in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and then it's kind of gone away. But the owner of this venue believes in giving the most and the best. And that's why we are Oheka Castle.
100%. Now, when I was DJing in the bands that I worked with here, there was an after party. So it was after the party ended for 5 hours. Then there was a 1 hour in another room. And I think they had to do that after party because the pastry chef killed when everybody had to clear the dance floor and come and eat that's it. The party was like, now it's coffee and cake and pastries. And it was tough to get them back on the dance floor after that.
I am a devil. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
You said it
I
earlier.
sat down and the ceiling
The
came
ceiling's
falling
coming down. We had to move the set.
So you just watch yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
No doubt about it. Now, you recently, when you shot with Chris and James and them, you were in the city for
We
the
were.
Salon du Chocolat.
Oh, that's really
And it's got to be
elegant.
fancy.
Wow.
You got to call it chocolat.
Those French people, they're all fancy pants. I love them to death, but they, I thought I just wasn't good enough. I couldn't even
right.
believe that they came for me specifically. I'm not a chocolatier.
I got you.
I work with chocolate. I know how chocolate behaves. I know I end up wearing it. I'm not so thankful about
Right.
that because I wear a
Right.
white jacket every day.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of a doctor. You
Yeah.
know? Like, it's just like all sweets and,
100%.
and drudgery, you
No.
know. But Salon du Chocolat was a great experience, and it did showcase. They commissioned me to make to dress an 8-foot mannequin. 7 to 8 feet tall. She was a
With everything
big
edible.
thing. Everything edible, and she had to have almost the equivalent of a wedding gown.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I
it
had
looked
no
like.
idea how I was going to take it because we're most famous at the castle. I wasn't there representing myself only. I was there to represent my job, my work in the castle. That's been
Sure.
good to me for the past 30
A lot of
years.
pressure.
Well, I'm proud, and I thought, look, if I don't do the task and the assignment is not what I'm able to do, at least I'm showing up. And that's what I've
Right.
realized in life is you have to show up. If you keep showing up, eventually you learn your craft, you know?
Right.
So I was ready for the biggest and the toughest criticism and critiques that I've ever had in my career. Instead, I found the opposite. Something that I wasn't sure of became the focal point. It faced a Fifth Avenue window.
Right.
And it was showcased, and it was lit at night. And over 10,000 tickets were sold that day. And most people made it to the fashion part of the showcase, which not only am I not a chocolatier, but I I barely notice what my wife is wearing. I'm not a fashionista. I just have to show up in a white
That's
jacket
it.
every
The white
day.
jacket is
So
it's
suddenly
easy.
I'm competing with, fashion people, fashion industry, and doing a chocolate version of anything within a fashion dress or uh, evening gown or whatever it might be called.
Right.
And I was able to pull it through. So with all of those people coming through, or a good part of them, it was elation for me. I was so proud and I was so happy. I was more shocked than I was happy, but I got so much applause. And the funny thing, Gage, is I've done a lot of really big things in this career. 30 years later,
Sure.
we could be here for hours. I've really done a lot of big pieces and other kind of work that I would probably almost be more proud of. I
Hmm.
thought this was silly and I didn't take it all so seriously, but I did want to be part of the Salon du Chocolat because I always dreamed of being part of it, but I was never asked.
So for those of you that can't understand, it's Salon du Chocolate.
It's the International Chocolate Show. It used to be at Javits and then it used to be at Metropolitan Pavilion. It stopped during COVID and they reinstituted it
Right.
with a new name. So it was a good launch, and the feeling was happiness. My piece put a lot of smiles on a
Yeah.
lot of people's faces, and children, and young kids were walking up to me, separate from their parents, but their parents would hear, and they're saying, "This is what we want to do when we grow up. We want to be
Right.
within the chocolate industry or within the baking industry. We want to make something beautiful like this." Should they do it? Probably not.
No,
It doesn't pay well. It's hard.
Stick to Legos,
Right,
kid.
right. Go be a professional. Maybe
This thing
some
will
other
collapse
time.
on you and you'll
But
cry.
it was that pretty.
Right. Oh, it was. It
Yeah,
was that.
it
Now
was
let
that
me.
pretty.
I'll put a picture of it up here on the podcast,
Right.
so the listeners can see, because it absolutely was extraordinary what you did. And let me ask you this, because now that we see the finished piece, what was what was the hardest part where this was like, wow, I'm pulling this off right now. This is really
the actual dress,
the swerves to
bottom.
it. It looked amazing.
I got carried away. I can draw and I can paint, and I made a fabulous, very quick sketch. I spent maybe an hour on it, and I was really happy with it. And they wanted to incorporate America's birthday, which was the 250th anniversary of this
America,
country,
right.
of America. So I had to get some white, red and white stripes in there, and blue and stars, and
So it had
and
a
I went
theme.
to
It had
town
a
with
theme
It
to
had
it.
a theme to it. But when I had to really figure out how I was going to make it, I was totally lost. And then I suddenly remembered art class in the second grade where we made hand puppets, and the teacher gave us a light bulb and paper mache, and we had to put layer and after layer of paper mache over a light bulb, and then cut it in half, and that was the head of the puppet, and then the rest was easy.
Right.
So, everything that we learn that's really necessary in life
Was from second grade?
does come from the earlier education. I've heard that, but it's embarrassing to say, but that was the inspiration for it. A light went on in my head, and I said, you know what? I'm going to blow up some balloons. We're going to dip them in chocolate, and then we're going to coat them in wafer paper. And when it's dry, just give it a little extra balance. And we're going to put each piece. We're going to cut it in half, of course, because I wanted it to look like an ever-blooming flower.
Okay.
It was to look like a flower fairy. To me, it looked more like a drag queen. Dressed in red,
It
white,
was
and
chocolate
blue.
RuPaul.
I was like, yeah, kind of, So I went all out, and my imagination knows no bounds, and I put chocolate truffles and little bonbons. It was Valentine's Day. I had bought them for my wife. I had just come from a chocolatier. I didn't even make them myself. I said, these might look really good in her head. And they put them there kind of as a joke. And I was like, this is going to score some points.
Right.
And that's where they went. And then they made a necklace for her with it. So I did bring in the chocolate theme all the way through.
Yeah, you really killed it. I mean, you'll see it here, guys, in the picture. I'll put it up here on the podcast. It was.
Thank you, Gaige.
Now,
I
what happens
appreciate
to it at the end? Do people eat it? Like, where does this thing go now? It just gets demolished?
No,
who eats it?
It wasn't demolished. It made such a hit at the show that there's a future
It's
plan.
in a museum. It's in a museum right now.
I can't say.
Right.
It's not in a museum. It's downstairs. We built a little room just for it to keep it dry. It's going to be used at a later date. That'll be another podcast. This thing is going to keep living. It's
that's incredible.
It's my Frankenstein.
Is it taking a bath here right now?
It's not taking a bath. bath, it would melt. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's water soluble. It's all
Yeah,
like
yeah.
wafer paper, chocolate, fondant,
What if the sun came out that day in the
pastillage.
window there? Would it have melted?
It would have. Fortunately, it was cold and the heating system wasn't working because there was a heating duct right
'Cause that's what
beneath
I
it.
said, it's in
'Cause
a
we put
window.
it
What if the
in
thing
the
melts?
window, and it was that side of Fifth Avenue never gets sunny, so we were okay. We were okay.
You see what I mean, guy? Never a dull moment here with world famous pastry chef.
Never a dull moment. I'm not typical.
No,
and
I
my work
love
is not typical.
We love that about you.
Thank
for
you.
real. I mean, that's what we love coming to the castle for too. When we come here, we always have such a good time. And you know, we said you're here for 30 years. I mean,
Mm.
you're like you are the castle. The food here, it's you do the pastry for
Well,
OHK?
yes, I do, but don't say that too loud. There's an owner here.
Yeah, no, that's
He's-
okay. Me and
he's-
Gary go
he's-
way back.
He's the castle. I just work for him.
He is.
But did he know I was going to be a character? And
Yeah,
did he
oh,
know
yeah.
that I would break all the rules and regulations. I never took a lesson in my craft.
That's right. You didn't go to school for this.
Never.
None. Zero.
There was no YouTube back then, and there was
Right,
no,
you couldn't
no-
look
no
up how to make
guide,
a-
But it was libraries and books, and it was trial and error. And I had a lot of local people. As a matter of fact, when I bought when I bought the bakery that was abandoned, and I made it all brand new again, and started a business there. I was afraid nobody was going to come, but the truth was, I defied my parents. They cut me off financially, and I couldn't use money that they had put away from scholarship money
yeah.
and whatever for graduate school, which I thought I had access to, and I didn't. So I had no employees, and I realized I have to open these doors and whatever. So I hung a sign in the window stating that if you were in the neighborhood and you were a retired baker or you were a housewife that was really good at making cookies and cakes, maybe you might want to donate time to this 21-year-old or 22-year-old
Right.
that didn't know a thing about it but wanted to make a business. So it read like a memorandum. It was just like, and you know what? I kind of did it jokingly. And the next day I had a line of people lining up, and they were real chefs, real pastry chefs, because you know what? When you're destined for this kind of a life and you're in tune with your destiny, it's just turned out that Entenmann's Corporation was down the street
I
on
joked
Fifth Avenue, and my store was just a mile away from
Yeah.
it. So Entenmann's had gone through a big sale and resale. The family that first started Entenmann's Corporation, Wendy and Charlie, they were patrons of mine at the store because they believed in me. And they had sold their company anyhow, and recipes were being changed. So everyone, it was a community effort to make me. And they didn't want to see me fail. So some of these people that I hired for very little or no money, they were bored. They were in retirement for years, and they wanted something to do. So they looked at me as a son, and they came in, and they gave me holidays and long hours and whatever. They taught me. They were the great masters. They were the German bakers, the Austrian bakers,
Wow.
the Italian bakers. So I really did get an education.
And that's better than the education you can get in school because it's hands-on with people that are cooking from
when you
all
go
over the
to a
world.
school, you have all the right equipment,
Right.
and you have all the right ingredients, and you have to. And when you're a young guy starting out, and you have bare bones. You better make magic out of nothing,
Right.
really, like flour,
Right.
water, and some sugar.
Right.
And I did it. I broke all the rules. The thing about me was like I never said no, and people would come in like with crazy ideas. Can you do an aircraft carrier for the Statue of Liberty on 4th of July?
Of
After I
course.
was like, sure, I
Sure, no
can.
problem.
And then I cried for a week, but I figured it out,
Like, why did I say yes to
everybody
that?
helped me, and it was a huge success.
So you talked about flour, sugar, and water,
Yeah.
and you said something funny earlier that when you have guests at your house, they actually expect you to whip out the flour, sugar, and water
Yeah,
and
someone-
whip up something.
Yeah,
Johnny
out
on
of
the spot.
nothing, out of nothing, and being a general chef, but particularly a pastry chef, I don't eat sugar in my life,
Right.
and my wife doesn't either, and I keep very little sugar in my life. I don't go home and make cakes or pastry because I'm inundated at my job.
Right. So
And-
last thing you want to go home and do.
Yeah, last thing I want to do, and last thing I want to eat, and the last thing. So if I'm having a dinner party, sometimes I bring something home from here, and I keep it very simple. Otherwise, I just make quick puddings or brulees or flans, or I'll make cupcakes, or
Right.
not what people are expecting. Like my
Right.
caliber, I'll make a pavlova out of egg whites because I have eggs in my. I can be pretty creative and I can turn something into nothing pretty
sure.
well. But do I enjoy doing that part of the dinner? No, not really.
No, yeah. So now, before we even got into the Entenmann's thing, I joked with you earlier saying that, hey, do you get some of this stuff from Entenmann's?
It was very real.
And you really,
Yeah, it was
that
very
whole
real.
story was right there in
Yeah.
Bayshore. Now, I'll tell you this.
It's timing.
My dad was the accountant
Was
for
he?
the David Pfizer Corporation,
Oh,
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
right
yeah.
across the street from
I
Entenmann's.
remember. Yeah, I remember.
And
yeah.
I used to go to that warehouse with him, and we'd leave the warehouse and go right to Entenmann's and leave where they wrap that rope around
Yeah, you
7
used to buy the
boxes
day-olds.
with a
Yeah,
black
right,
stripe
right,
on
right.
it. The,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
the box
yeah.
had the
Yeah,
black stripe,
that's right. That's
it was
right.
cheaper, and you
They had
left
an
with
outlet.
yeah.
They had an out. If anything was busted or just tiny, we used to go there too.
Yeah.
Younger, before I ever imagined that I would be a baker. We used to just take the drive from the city. I grew up in Astoria in a brownstone, and but my parents frequented the beaches and whatever, and it was everyone knew Entenmann's, but that I would realize it as part of my life. It was a dream come true. So people joke about it today, but I do have a lot of the original Entenmann's recipes. I did know the Entenmann's family.
No, that was you
Yeah,
blew me
and they
away when
were
I said that, because I
instrumental.
said it jokingly.
Right. And then when I opened the Manhasset shop, Ronzoni Pasta became my partner. And so I have a little knowledge about pasta. now,
he knows a little thing or two.
So that was it. A lot of great people helped form my career. It really is unlikely. Like, this isn't what happened to me. Wasn't I didn't go in a straight line.
Right.
It was a
zigzag
line.
for 30 years.
But Gaige, I survived it, and I
sure did.
want to tell you this. Back to the parents, right?
Yep.
They still give me misery about my career. And it's like, I know that when I am featured on a TV show or Food Network or anything like that, I know my mom calls all her friends and says, watch it.
Right, watch my son. He's going to be on TV
right,
today.
So they really, really,
They're proud of you.
They're very proud.
Yes.
But every holiday that I do see them and I do show up at the dinners, they're like, first, what did you bring?
Right.
Because
Where's
they
the
expect me to bring the whole dinner. And then the second thing is, how are you? And I said, I'm exhausted. It's a holiday. A holiday wherever you are in the baking industry is rough.
Tremendous.
And my mom and my dad would look at me and say, well, sure, it's hard. You were stupid to do this career. You should have. We wanted you to do something easier. They seem to think that being a doctor or a lawyer is easier. It's not easier.
So you couldn't complain about anything, because then
I still can't complain. Mom's still alive at 90 years old, and she still gives me a
God
hard
bless
time
her.
about it.
Yeah.
She sees me wearing a white jacket, and she says, you could have worn the stethoscope with that if you listen to mommy, or, like, whatever. So you get the picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said my parents wanted me to be a doctor. I became a dancer at 20 years old.
That's right.
It started with a D. I thought I was pretty close.
That's it. You did it, but you followed
I went with my dream and my aspirations, who I was.
Right. So the key factor here, nothing life inspiring. But I tell young people, follow your passion,
100.
even if it's disrelated. My passion was art, and it still is.
Right.
So I play with people's food, and I do great things with it. And I turn it into 7 and 8 foot mannequins covered in chocolate, and I'm getting applauded for it. I'm playing with people's food and getting paid for it.
You play with their food,
famous for it.
You play with their food before
in a
they eat it.
positive way. Yeah,
Before
I
they
do.
eat it.
I'm like final
Now,
stop. Right.
So this is great. This is first of all, this is an unbelievable podcast, because the personality here is you're never gonna get this again. I'm telling you
Watch
right
out,
now.
I could be a bad influence.
No, it's a great one. So, like I mentioned earlier at OHK, the pastries that come out, and it's next level. It really is now.
That's Oheka's restaurant.
That's right,
Yeah.
OHK.
Right.
So now you got to have something that, if I said to you, what is your favorite, like, what do you love? Like, if you had to go into the kitchen right now and really impress, President Trump and 20 people walked in, or or George Clooney walked in and he said, hey, we'd like to have something. What would you whip up and bring out to them to try to really impress them?
Well, I've done that.
I know you have.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
And for those people. So it's not about, it's more about asking what they like and making what they like. My favorite is I'm more a basic guy. I like a good flan.
Yeah, I
I
was just
like
gonna say flan would be my
yeah, I love
favorite.
that. I love the custards. I like fruit. I like fruit desserts. I like puddings. I like all that stuff. I also like very plain pound cake. I'm most known for these exaggerated, tall, big, fat cakes
Gotcha.
with all the icing, like dressed up to look like Marie Antoinette's ball gown when she got married. It's like
Right.
it's all about opulence. That's what I'm best at, the detail and the sizing and all of that. Everything at this castle is kind of exaggerated. The house itself is exaggerated, and they have a pastry chef here whose vision is exaggerated also. I want everything to be a showstopper. It could be a plated dessert. I don't make it just look good. I always, I
There's an
always take it a
artistic
bit
look to it. It's got
further.
the
Right.
Chef Daniel.
Right. And another favorite of mine is Swiss profiteroles, which is it's a combination of a cream puff with a sugar cookie
That's
baked
my
on top
favorite
of
one
it.
that you have here.
I know the
100%.
the owners also, and we serve it in a pool of creme anglaise. And I came up with that dessert almost 40 years ago, and it's a winner. And
That
people
is
really adore it.
100%.
At OHK, we outsell that dessert over everything else. Yeah.
100%. That was my favorite one here.
Totally unique to the castle
Yeah, absolutely.
and to myself.
That's your
Yeah.
signature.
It's yeah, I would say, and it's
I'd
not so much the big cakes, but it's that one little thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you really nailed that one for sure.
Thank you.
Was it an original? Was it like a Chef
No,
Daniel?
it was. I had, like I say, when I started with.
Or was that the little German lady in
It's a
Bayshore
little-
that taught you that one?
It's a little German. I had an old pastry chef that started when he was probably 75 years old, and he worked till he was 92 or 3.
Wow.
For as long as he could stand, he came in. And he had a little notebook in his pocket, and though I still have the little notebook.
See?
And he offered it up, and it said, you need to have this for the rest of your career. But he taught me that, and that recipe I wrote down because he would never put it in writing. I don't know if it was his or if it was someone else's. I don't know if it's published. I don't care. I've made like 50 billion of them over the years,
Wow.
and they're beloved. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad this is why, you want to give back to the people that taught you. And that's why I asked the question, because now you gave homage to the guy that taught you how to do that. And you made it famous
absolutely. No one, nothing in baking is so original. It's all been done before.
now. Right.
It's like things now, the industry is going in a very peculiar way. The industry's outgrown me. I'm the older guy now, and I watch these young hotshots now on Food Network and
Sure.
on YouTube and on social media, and they could make icings that you could make a pair of pants out of. They're so elasticy that you can probably
Wow, you
wear
could do
'em.
anything with it.
They make sheets of all this stuff. It's like I don't know if it's good chemistry or what it is. A lot of it doesn't taste so good. That's the thing. It looks splashy, and it'll give you a dynamite look at the end. But I'm certainly the pastry guy that likes a good balance. Nothing has to be plastic perfect. My cakes, their exteriors are as imperfect because I was never really a professional decorator. I became that. So I'll attempt anything, and they look splashy, they look elegant, but damn it, if people don't like the way the cake tastes on the inside, I wouldn't be sitting here with you 30 years
No,
later.
no,
It's
absolutely.
got to be good.
Right.
And that's what's wrong in this world today.
That's the balance
Things
that you
look really
kept.
good on the outside, and you take a bite into it,
It's
and they're
disgusting.
terrible.
Yeah,
They're
it's
disgusting.
disgusting. Yeah.
That's the one comment I hear over and over, and that's what I'm most proud of, is to have the balance of the look and the taste.
Sure. And like I said, I've been coming here for 2.5 decades doing the entertainment here. I see the room over there on the way over to the chaplain room, and your cakes are stacked as there is a showcase of cakes.
Yeah,
to-
we've decided to put them out. People have no idea. In the restaurant,
it's-
they might see a little birthday cake, but people don't necessarily come here. They're not. This
Right.
is an expensive event to be at.
That's right.
Or to throw. And a lot of people are discovering the castle for the first time. So when they come in, they're razzle dazzled by the food, yes. But we decided to put some pieces there
And let them see
there's
it.
there's an appreciation. Like, look, we do go Gatsby,
That's right.
and we do. And if there's any inclination of having a party here, this is a small slice
Yeah.
right here. And
No.
and I get a lot of comments back on that.
Oh, forget it. It's a work of art. Every one of those cakes in there is.
Oh, thank you. You're
It's
wonderful.
They're as high
too.
as me. They're 5'7".
Yeah, some go up to 10 feet.
10
in,
feet.
Yeah, in actuality. And you've seen them.
You got to
because you've
stand on a
been-
ladder
Right. I do.
to put them together.
I do. I have pictures of me standing on ladders.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
definitely.
Unbelievable.
Definitely.
This has been one serious episode on ISM Radio. I mean, this is unbelievable. Chef Daniel Andreotti, world famous chef, pastry chef here at Oheka Castle, 30 years and still going. I mean, so there's no sign of slowing down anytime soon.
That's not my plan.
Yeah, no.
I'm praying for longevity, and I want to rub my fingerprints off before I take the leap into death. just by working, and washing dishes. So that's my goal.
Right. See, so there is
survival. We call it survival.
That's it. Well, you've done an amazing job. The Salon du Chocolat, that dress was absolutely unbelievable. We were so blessed to be there as part of the team that day. That was another amazing event to be at, and it was all because of you. You got the high.
Thank you. I'm grateful to all of you. I'm grateful to Salon du Chocolat. I hope I'm not embarrassing myself for that by pronouncing it.
Not at all.
In a funny way. But
you told the truth about it.
Honestly, yeah. Stay tuned. You'll see some great things from that.
Yeah, we're super excited, guys. So, Gaige signing off with world famous pastry chef Daniel Andreotti. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Goodbye to all.
Thanks for listening to ISM Radio. Join us for our invitation-only executive networking event at the legendary Oheka Castle. For more information, visit ideastreammarketing.com.